round 6 of the Eurocup-3 Championship, we return to the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps hidden deep in the Ardennes forest. For this round, both qualifying sessions and both races took place on the same day, so it was an action-packed Friday for all teams and drivers. Qualifying 1 resulted in Carrasquedo leading us away from pole position for the second time this season, with the driver second in the championship, Valerio Rinicella, locking out the front row. Off the line, it was a brilliant launch from Mattia Colnaghi, who found himself jumping up to second position from 4th on the grid by the time we'd reached turn 1. The first lap action wasn't done just yet though, with Enzo Tarvinichko making some daring moves into Lecombe to try and climb his way up the order. Further back in the field, a battle started to brew between Alex Abcazava, Ernesto Rivera and Garrett Barry as they all squabbled for best of the rest in 11th. Stuka thought his troubles with the Red Bull Junior drivers were over, but this time it was the Frenchman of Jules Caranta applying pressure to the back of the Griffincorn machine, inevitably finding his way past just before the heavens opened from above. With each sector of the circuit posing different climates, teams and drivers were now left in a difficult limbo on whether or not to pit for wet tyres or prioritise track position and endure the conditions at hand. Intensifying rain caused Valerio Rinicella and MP Motorsport to respond by boxing for wet tyres, a decision he would later regret, with the race being cut short by a red flag and him being unable to regain the time he lost. Shortly after, a safety car was deployed due to concerns about the safety of the track conditions, offering drivers a reduced pit stop. However, the majority decided to prioritise track position over this. After the safety car peeled off into the pit lane, resuming racing action, we only made it 4 corners before a red flag was called, ending the race 6 minutes early and handing Carrasquedo a smooth sailing lights to flag victory. Later in the day for race 2, it seemed as if the rain had passed over and we were all set for some dry racing action. The second qualifying session that morning saw Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. grab his first pole position of the season. However, the Brazilian maybe let the pressure get to him as he seemingly stalled off the line, leaving him as a passenger as he watched all his competitors fly past him off the line. As a result of this, we found Ernesto Rivera at the front of the field after some close battles through the first sector. Valerio Rinicella's weekend only went from bad to worse after he found himself in the wall after a first lap incident, bringing out a safety car for the second time today. With 18 minutes remaining on the clock, racing action resumed, and we were instantly treated to a fiery battle for the lead between Ernesto Rivera and Carrasquedo, which would continue on for multiple laps as the drivers swapped positions lap after lap. Behind, Agozzi, Abcazava and Gladish were getting jealous of the battling happening in front of them and wanted their own bit of action as the three started trading blows for 4th position in the standings. It all became a little too much after a 3-wide moment down into turn 1 with just 4 minutes remaining saw the battle turn sour, resulting in Makic Gladish retiring after contact with the rear end of Abcazava's car. A safety car was then deployed and you might have thought that the race was over, but boy would you be wrong, as the drivers were given one last racing lap to settle the racing order after a very eventful race. The drivers wasted no time in getting stuck in, as Agozzi tried a brave move around the outside of Lecombe that he just fell short of completing. But all eyes were on one man, Enzo Tarvinichko, who started last on the grid and now found himself in contention for 4th position after catching onto the back of Agozzi. With time and corners on the track running out, he would have to pull something very special off to get the move done, and that's the exact assignment he took on board. At the least expected moment, Tarvinichko found himself on the outside of Blanchimont, attempting to make the pass, which at first glance paid off. But it all soon came crumbling down as a mistake under braking whilst defending his position into the bus stop chicane saw him take off over the apex of turn 20 and crossing the line in 4th. However, post-race he was awarded a 1-place penalty, demoting him back down to 5th, still a valiant effort from 28th on the grid. When it was all said and done, it was Ernesto Rivera who walked away with the win in race 2, and Mattia Colnaghi grabbing a nice heap of points to extend his championship lead to 48 heading into the last 2 rounds. With a sizable gap, it's going to be difficult to dethrone Colnaghi, but anything can happen in crunch time of the season, with the next round being Jerez from the 19th to the 21st of September.